Hello and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Grassia. I kind of got a special Get in Tune tonight. Sorry, there's a little sound clicking, which will disappear soon because I'm going to use my iPhone in a little bit. And there's always a little, it's the speakers. And I can't shut off the speakers, but I can shut off the volume. So I can listen really close and I'm hearing myself. So, anyway, I'm going to use my iPhone in a few minutes because I'm going to show you the messiness of my studio. I mean, it's really messy tonight, but I wanted to come on because earlier today I did a special 4:30 um, Get in Tune with Bruce Blitz, who has been a cartoon hero of mine since childhood. I told the story on the air. Let me grab it. And again, I don't know what I do. Oh, here it is. When I was 13 years old, the year was 1989. For Christmas, my parents gave me Bruce Blitz cartooning kit. It was how to draw comic strips, and I have his DVD library here, which has it on there. I bought this sometime in the I think late 90s, and I go back to it once or twice a year. I look through it, and I and just kind of what got me into drawing comic strip style stuff. I also have this book here, the Big Book of Cartooning, which I had for years, and then I finally got to meet him at a show, and he autographed it. So I got a little picture, everything. One of my most prized cartooning possessions. All right. I also, at that same show, I got a caricature from him. That was pre-beard, obviously. I just had the goatee. It's usually that empty space behind me. That's where it's usually hanging. I took it down for the show today. I got to put it back up. So I just wanted to give you guys an update of what I'm doing with Get in Tune / Michael Grassia Studios, which Get in Tune's kind of a part of Michael Grassia Studios. And I also wanted to, I'm sorry, sounds like my cat's trying to get into the door. Not going to happen. I also I thought it'd be fun to go through these old books of mine here and kind of draw in the Blitz style that I learned when I was young and what influenced me. So I'm going to switch over before I get into that. I'm going to switch over to my iPhone, which is set up, and I'm going to show you guys the studio and what my plans for the studio are. Let me put my glasses back on because it's easier for me with that. And I'll explain a little bit of, I guess, how I work and just kind of the setup of the studio and what's going to happen, what's going to change, and why I'm doing it. So let me switch over to my iPhone here. Let's bring this in, add, and let's go full stream. So obviously right there, you can see that's some of my decor. That's my Hanna-Barbera shelf. And I'm sorry for the shakiness. And that's a print of the very last Calvin and Hobbes comic strip up there, which is one of my favorite. I also have Preston Blair poster of Red Hot from the Droopy cartoons. And I just have a few things. That's my air purifier, which isn't on right now. Up here is the proclamation that October 5th is Michael Grassia Day in Westchester County. That's I just copied the Mighty Mouse. I just always love that parody of what's it called? Crisis on Infinite Earths. I come down here and you're gonna see the mess right now. I got my comics on up there, a bunch of cartooning books that I have, guidebooks, comic strips that the comic strips, if you remember, used to be behind me, but I needed a place to really I didn't like Dino on the floor and Mario was hanging out on my printer, and I didn't really like that too much. So I switched them over. I got to change up some of the decor, the organization of how things look. This is a table. I got to look through a lot of artwork there. That's a book I'm in the process of reading about the 9 Old Men. Down here, though, you'll see the 2 black shelves, and my fan, obviously. But what's going to happen is, on this side of the room here, where I do the majority of my work, so I have my drawing table for traditional stuff over there. That's where I usually sit to shoot these videos. And then I got, my Cintiq where hooked up to my laptop. I have my extra monitor there. So what's going to happen is I'm going to take down this stuff here, not anything under Red Hot's basically disappearing, and I'm going to put these shelves up against the wall here. Now, it's going to be about a little higher than my Cintiq, not too much higher. All right. Now this table's 59 inches, and I got a 36-inch shelf and I got a 24-inch shelf. So I'm going to make a total 6-foot shelf. And what's going to happen is my laptop's going to go on there. The dual monitor with my sound bar is going to go up there. You'll notice I have an extra keyboard here because the keyboard for the laptop, I always screw up key commands and stuff. I needed a larger keyboard, so I use that. And I use my own trackpad, sometimes a mouse, but mostly a trackpad because I have carpal tunnel, so it's easier on my hand and my arm to maneuver around. So what'll happen is the Cintiq will get centered on the table, and things back there are like USB drives and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm gonna come back to. I'm gonna remove this, and I'm gonna turn this off so I don't have the echoing. Sorry, just closing out on my phone, and let me plug it in. All right. So what's going to happen is when this bar, and I'm going to try to do it this weekend, is completed, not the bar, the shelf, the dual monitor, my second monitor is going to go up on there. The laptop's going to be centered in front of the Cintiq. And then I'll keep the keyboard that I use and the trackpad down here next to me in the center. I'm going to keep the mic hooked up over here. But I'm going to have other cameras, and I'm actually going to order them definitely by the end of this weekend. I'm just looking at a couple. I'm seeing if there's going to be any Black Friday sales, maybe even wait for Cyber Monday. I know we've had stuff, but webcams have gone up in price since the pandemic, since so many people work virtually now, that I'm just waiting to see if there's any plans. I'm going to get one and I didn't show it, but I have another. You might have saw in addition to my mic, next to it is an arm that connects to an overhead for my drawing board. So when I'm shooting down, so I'll have a webcam hooked up to that. I'm probably going to do another webcam for my face, so I'm not using the laptop, but I may hold off on there. Everything depends on prices. But if I do that, I'll have another arm, which will probably be attached either to the shelf or to the other side of the table for me. I'm going to continue using the software StreamYard, which I use for these videos. But when I move over to more drawing videos, which I plan to do a lot more of now, that'll be set up more for traditional. Today I'm going to use the Cintiq, but I'm set up more for traditional. Let me plug in my laptop. I'm seeing it's kind of low right now on power, and I should always look at this before I come on. Give me 1 second. Just at the angle the laptop's set up at, it's a little bit of a pain. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna have that set up, and I'm probably gonna move over to an OBS software like probably StreamYard. I like the not StreamYard, Streamlabs. I'm using StreamYard now. I like the way that is that works for certain streaming. I know people use it to Twitch, but you can go to YouTube, Facebook, just like I do anyway. Um, so I can stream on multiple platforms. I can do everything I need on there. Um, and for now, I'm just going to control it on its own. If I need to, I'll buy a what do you call it? Some kind of streaming deck to help me out with shortcuts. But for now, I'm not going to spend the extra money. See how it goes. Now, that's just really what's going on with the Get in Tune show and my drawing stuff. As for my business with Michael Grassia Studios, where I produce my comics and animations and stuff, which I haven't produced much in a while. I'm going to start. I'm on track of producing. I just finished a children's book a few weeks ago called Boodles of Doodles. It's about a monkey named Doodles who loves to doodle. It's a pre-K to second grade easy reader, although there is one big word in there. So it may not be so easy on one of the pages, but it's a pretty easy reader, great rhyming pattern. Drawings are fun. I'm going to be posting it in the next few days. I wanted to have it up already, like on the Kindle app store, so you guys could buy a digital copy of it. But I'm probably going to go through Amazon. I haven't decided yet. But I want to get it up so you guys could order. If you want to order a print copy, you can have it in time for Christmas or the other, what is it, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, all those go on. Or if you just want to buy it just to buy it because you don't celebrate, but you just want a great children's book, then do so. So I'll have that. I'm working on an animation right now. Nothing I can show, but I'm working in Adobe Animate because my my Toon Boom account is running up, and at the moment I don't have the cash to renew Harmony. So I'd love to. I know a little bit. I've always been trying to learn it so I can animate. And I got a couple of comics in the works. I'm going to be bringing back The Wiz. And I'm doing a webcomic called The Adventures of Dax Photon, which is a sci-fi adventure hero story. It's written by a friend of mine. And that's really it. I mean, I'm just doing that. If people want me for virtual visits to their schools or libraries, I'm doing that. So that's basically Michael Grassia Studios and what's going on with Get in Tune. But let's get out of what's going on with me and let's get into the idea for today. So I really loved talking with Bruce. Like I said, he was one of my cartoon heroes since childhood. I've met him a few times. I have a bunch of I don't want to say a bunch of stuff, but I have things from him. One of the things that I bought, and I told him this story, is I bought this. It's a Blitz drawing board. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't see exactly where I'm holding it. Okay, and the reason I bought it is because it had this frosted plexiglass on it, and when I was learning to animate, I was able to shine a light through the back of it. I also, this piece doesn't come with it. I bought this to hold my pencils while I'm drawing. It's Velcroed on there, so this comes off very nice. Doesn't really leave anything, but you can wipe it down. If it has any gook, it's good. And that's Velcroed on there. It's about, I don't know, what was it, $6-7 I got online. But I still use this on occasion. I stopped using it quite often in 2016 because do I have something around me to show? No, not off the top of my hand, but I had a cat named Jesse, and he was this beautiful black cat, and he passed away in 2017. And he was basically my cat, just like Sesame, who we have now, and Adam with Jesse is more my wife's cat than he is mine, but he likes to cuddle. But Jesse wasn't like that. He was a deaf cat, and he just attached himself to me. So when I'd open up that drawing board, didn't matter if I set it up in my living room, dining room, in my studio, wherever it was, he was in there. He was underneath it, and I can sit for hours and just draw, and he would just sleep, never really move. It was just a nice memory, and So sometimes it's a little sad to use that board, and sometimes I pull it out just because I do have the memories, you know. Anyway, enough talking. Let's get to today's idea. So today, after talking with Bruce and all the fun stuff we talked about, and by the way, check out the video if you're watching on Facebook at getintoon.net, or if you're watching on YouTube, you can go back and watch it on YouTube after you watch this. So I'm going to go through the big book of cartooning today and kind of look at the Blitz style of things. But I wanted to do a little twist. I don't want to just sit around and be like, oh, copy out of the book and make, oh, here's a guy, here's your average man in a suit or something, you know? I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to kind of pull something out, but draw some interesting things. So, not that stuff in the book isn't interesting, but you know what I mean. Things that are more in tune to what I normally draw. So, sci-fi, fantasy type of things. And I kind of got this idea. I've been on a fan film kick recently. I've been watching a lot of YouTube fan films, and I've been a fan of what's it called? Obviously, I'm a fan of things like Star Wars and He-Man and Thundercats and all this stuff from my childhood. I love all that. And I've been watching a lot of fan films on Star Wars. I watched a really great one called Kenobi, and it was about Obi-Wan when he was on Tatooine after Luke's been there for a few years, kind of growing up. There was another one, it was called Origins, and it was kind of this Indiana Jones Star Wars tribute. And there was another one, I think it was called Making of a Monster. And I don't want to spoil anything, even though I kind of figured out the story within I'd say the first 5 minutes or so, like what the monster was. But it's very, it's a for what people have budgets for. It's really good. So I recommend everybody going out and watching that. I might actually reach out to some of these directors and cast members and stuff and find out if they want to come on Get in Tune in the new year, because I'm booked until the 29th. I'm actually, one I watched today that I liked a lot, had a lot of potential, very interesting concept, effects decent for a fan film. I'm not going to say they were amazing, but they were good. I enjoyed it. But it was a He-Man fan film called Fall of Grayskull. And I thought that had so much potential. I actually, when I finished it, I reached out to the director, Daniel, and I'm blanking on his last name. His first name was Daniel. He wrote and directed. He's been a big He-Man fan, and it was a nice tribute to the He-Man story. So even though he got knocked a little, and all fan films get knocked, I'm not knocking anything I saw, because these guys took an idea and they took it from concept and made something based on a product that they love. So it's not something I would ever knock. I don't knock effects. I don't knock any of that. Everybody has whatever budget they can do. So what I want to do is I want to draw some of these type of characters in this Blitz idea and style. So I'll be flipping through the book on occasion, and I'll be going through what Bruce basically showed me in my youth. So let me give this whole screen here. And I know that was almost 20 minutes of me just talking about what's going on and things, and I'm sorry. I really wanted to get to drawing much sooner. So I'm going through the book right now, and what I'm thinking of looking at, and here's his designing comic strip, which I always loved. You know, I remember the videotape of that, and he had that funny little voice, and it was about a little kid. He was like, "Hey, Mom, can I have a toothpick?" And she's like, "What for, dear?" You know, so it was these weird voices. He's like, "I want to chew on it and look cool." the mom has an idea, and then at the end he looks all kind of like, look at me. He goes, it's just not the same with dental floss. And then it's got that, if I remember the music correctly. Anyway, let's get into drawing some of this stuff. I'm not going to go with the heroic things. I want to go with the cartoony things. So let's talk a little bit about a character. Maybe I'll do. Let's do. You know what? Let's do a He-Man character, and maybe we'll do. Should we do? You know, let's do Teela. Okay. She was a big presence in this He-Man movie. You know, she had a costume. I believe the costume was from the mini comics. It was more barbarian-like. It wasn't the one where she had the snake stuff on her head or anything. It was where she had the kind of the chest plate and like the armbands and stuff. Maybe I'll pull up a photo of it or a YouTube trailer so you guys can see. But, you know, one of the things I always liked about the way Bruce drew women was he kind of started with this diamond, teardrop, whatever you want to call it, shape. And, you know, guidelines will go in so he can figure out where they're going to go. You give him a neck. And then the way the body would be set up was kind of like this. And, you know, this could be turned into a dress. You can pull the legs out. I'm just going to have the legs come down right now. I don't like that middle line, though, so I'm going to go to my eraser. All right. And this way I can figure out where the legs will go. And then the feet kind of maybe ovalish will do, a triangular, something like that. I don't like that foot either. So, by the way, anyone watching, if you have any comments or questions, you know, feel free to ask something about what I'm drawing. You want me to draw something in this, you know, going back into my memories with this style, you know, feel free to. I'm happy to talk. And then, you know, I'm going to have, let's have her arm out like this. Maybe she'll be holding something, and this one will be down right here. All right. So I'm just going to pull up an image of Teela from this what do you call it? Fan film. So Fall of Grayskull. And I'll put Teela. So maybe there are some images. And you know what I gotta say? I'm not going to spoil anything, but the ending actually came out of a episode from the '80s He-Man, and it always made me chuckle ever since I was a kid. So I think it's from the He-Man comic? Maybe I'm trying to remember where the costume was from. I know I'm not drawing. I just want to get a picture to show you guys. So let me just bring back my screen real quick. So this right here is the costume that, I don't know how well you can tell it, you know, is the costume that she wore. I think that's from one of the comics. I don't remember. I enjoyed all versions of the cartoon series, but I never and I'll be honest, yes, I even did enjoy the New Adventures of He-Man from from the 90s when he went into the future and landed on Primus, and everyone thought that that was a different planet. But if we got a second season, we would have found out that was the future Eternia. So I'm gonna draw Tila. So she had her hair, and this is one of the things I always loved about the Blitz style, is by creating this diamond shape, the hair was able to flow nicely down. And I'm just going to do this for now. I'll figure out the eyes. She's a warrior, so maybe I'll make her look a little bit angry. I don't know. And I'm going to give her nose will kind of be up like that. And kind of give her a little smile. And she had a lipstick there. Right? Now it comes down her arm, thicken up the lines here. Now in the picture, she's got some kind of gauntlet wristbands, and she had armbands on both. I do remember that. So thicken it up, down, armbands here. There we go. They kind of gave her. She was very, like I said, barbarian looking. So I'm just adding in some shapes to help me out. And then she had, kind of that female version of the He-Man furry loincloth. All right. I'll even add that in. Her boots, which I know weren't in the picture, were very much the boots from, I believe, the cartoon series. It was kind of furry, and they were high heels. All right. And then she had this, I think they were just circle patterns. And I don't know. Let me look. I don't want to make it incorrect. Yeah, it was just a series of circles, and she had straps going up here and straps here. You can see her belly button, so let's add that. And looked like there might have been about 2 or 3 lines in there. And let's do her hand. This one like this. And you know what's funny? As I'm drawing this, she did have a gun, but I think she used a staff at one point. I don't remember. I'm going to change her hand to the gun. I actually still do this. The way I draw these hands, this is the same way I still draw. Now that her gun looked kind of like that. And I'm just looking at the picture right now. So then it kind of came. So I'm going to cut it here. All right. Then it came out. And then I had another, kind of came down to a point. And it had these designs on. I don't remember. It's hard to tell the detail. But that was the gun. And watching Bruce's videos and everything, I actually think I probably did a little more detail than he would have. He used to just kind of loosely put in shapes and then go over it with the black. Now, I'm going to actually choose a brush. Now, I will say this. I have bought a few different brushes in my time. And if you go and purchase the Circworks comic brush starting kit, they actually have some really nice brushes. And I'm just going to use the Tech Pen for now because I like that. And undo. Why did I get all those little... I don't know. Oh, I got all those little dots that I was seeing that I didn't see before is because I have the touch on them. Come on, turn the touch off. So So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this pen, a little thinner. I like my, and I'm going to give her a hair down. Then a hair out to the side. And then we'll have her hair. Nope, not like that. Nope. So. Zoom in. That's how you make good lines, right? Zoom in. I don't like that line either, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate. Too big. What's going on? Is it my lighting? I see something kind of flashing on my... I don't know if you guys can see that, but my screen kind of has this weird little flash going. You know, maybe it's from my ceiling fan. Let me turn that off, see what happens. I've never noticed anything like that before. No, it's still doing it. There has to be some light or something going on. I don't know. I've never noticed that before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her some eyelashes. Do 3. Nose. And even add a little shadow underneath. That in. I gotta say, this show I watched, you know, it's about 35 minutes long or so. If you're a fan of He-Man, I do think it's worth your time. And if anybody out there is watching and you are a He-Man fan and you saw it, let me know your thoughts. Did you like it? My hand is not steady today. But then again, when is it, right? Have this come over here for the arm. No, I don't like that. Okay. Let's kind of have... Yeah, let's kind of have the arm like that it's over. I hate making circles with my inks. Nope. That's probably a better angle. I might actually change the color on here. Right now I'm using black, but maybe I'll go in. It was a gold. It was a gold color that she was wearing on her chest plate. So that might be kind of fun to change the color, play with that. gotta say this. Looking at my Cintiq, doing this weird blinking on the screen, it's driving me nuts. It is happening on my desktop though. I'm not on my laptop. So I'm trying to figure out what the reasoning for that could be. Maybe I set this up, I don't know, high res. I know I set it up high res, but maybe I should have set it up as a lower res photo or illustration. I don't know, but that's really bugging me out right now. Oh, forgot our belly button. Let's get our hand out over here. All right, let's get her other arm. I don't like how that arm came out, but whatever for now. It's just a quick playing cartoon here. I think I made her thumb way too big. I'm trying to give her a little bit more feminine of a hand. So, yeah, I gotta say, getting back to my interview today, it might have been my all-time favorite so far because, like I said, Bruce is such a cartooning hero to me. I remember the first time I met him, I was actually nervous to go talk to him. The only other person that ever happened to with me was Sergio Aragones, and Sergio is my all-time favorite artist, so that might give you an idea of what level Bruce is on for me. I didn't say this on the air, but at the end, I asked him, could he give a sign off like he used to do in his videos where he says, "Thank you for joining me and keep on cartooning." I'm not gonna lie, I almost teared up. Like I kind of got choked up hearing him do that for me. But yeah, no, it was a fantastic, fantastic interview. And you know, as I'm making up this gun, I gotta be honest, I don't think I've ever seen Bruce draw a weapon. I don't think he's ever done anything with some kind of violence like that. But you know, everyone does different things. I'm a like I said, I'm a big sci-fi guy. Um, you know, I love Stargate. I've mentioned is my all-time favorite science fiction. I don't like that. And that came out in 1994. I remember sitting in the theater, and the first time I went through the Stargate, excuse me, I was hooked. You know, and I thought it was fantastic. And I watched every incarnation of the series. SG1 was fantastic. Stargate Atlantis was fun. I mean, it might be the weakest of all the shows that they did, but I still was fun. I'm a big McKay fan, and I really enjoyed Universe as well. I loved Dr. Rush on there. I thought he was probably one of the best characters. And whoops. Okay. Oh, Steven, where can you hear the Bruce interview? Well, it's on my YouTube page. I don't know if it's been processed yet. Sometimes after I do a live video, it takes 8+ hours for some reason to process. Sometimes I couldn't even watch it the next morning, but it will be on my YouTube um, page, which you can watch hopefully by later tonight. When I get off here, hopefully it'll be up there. I can, you know what? Where's my phone? I can check to see right now. It was only an hour long, but I'm not gonna lie. Inside, I was playing it cool on the outside. At least I hope so. But I was fanboying out on the inside. Um, I geeked out so much, and so that's that one. Let me go to my library. Um, Not my library, my page. I need to go to my channel. So yeah, it hasn't been processed yet. The last one you can see was my equipment test from the other day, but it will be processed on here. But if you have a Facebook account, you can go on getintoon.net. That's this. At Facebook there. So you don't need the F there, but just saying that it's Facebook. Thanks. You go on there and you'll follow that. And every week at 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday night, I go live. And I'm on YouTube and I'm on Facebook. I have a bunch of great interviews. Last week I did an interview with a bunch of indie comic creators. Ray Felix was there, Tom Siaka, Sam Vera, George Medina, and JD Calderon. They were all and JM DeSantis. Can't forget JM. He's a good guy. He was on. Excuse me. The previous week before that, I had Ed Steckley, who is the what is he? He runs the Manhattan chapter of the National Cartoonist Society. Everybody was cartoonists. Roger Phillips of the Gray Zone comic, Tim Jones of Sour Grapes, Brad Perry of Pirate Mike. Sorry, Francis Bonnet of Suburban Fairy Tales, and Don Chin, who was one of the co-creators of the adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters. He did X Farce, all these parody books. I'm actually working with him and doing a backup story in one of that with a friend of mine, Delphin Barrel. So Del and I are doing a 3-page backup in one of his books, which is cool. There is, oh God. You can go back and just look at it. Next week, I'm going to have John Wilcox on. John worked for major comic companies like Marvel. He was a colorist. He's done writing. But he's also a comic book and comic strip historian and friends with a lot of these people who, I'm sorry, I don't know your background, but if you're a comic fan or an artist, we grew up loving these comic guys, and he knows like all of them, or at least knew them. So he'll be a very interesting talk to. Usually my shows last about an hour, but this one next week I'm sure we'll go over. I'll probably do another sketch on here too. So this was the version of Teela, my cartoony version of Teela from the fan film. I'm just going to write it up, fan film. And by the way, this was Teela. The fan film was Fall of Grayskull. Okay, check it out. It's 36 minutes, I believe, for a full cartoon. Not cartoon, for the full live action piece. I thought it was a very nice tribute to the characters. Definitely not along the lines of Filmation. There's a little darker than the Filmation cartoon. but it was a beautiful tribute to the character of He-Man. Teela, who was a big part of it, and I've always liked her character. Not really on the series itself, although the 2000 series I think made her a little more interesting. But I loved her in the comics, the mini comics, the comics DC put out. So I like her comic book version and interpretation a little bit more than I liked her Filmation appearance. But yeah, I thought this was a really nice tribute. The costumes done really well. I mean, the sorceress looked like she was out of the Filmation cartoon. He-Man's chest armor, all that, everything basically looked like it was out of that. They didn't use the same. They didn't use a sword, but I mean, they had a sword in there, but they didn't have a traditional He-Man sword in there. But it was a really, really good. Triclops looked great. Evelyn looked very different than her normal appearance, but it didn't turn me off, because they kind of kept the costumes very close to what I'd see. I don't know if that was a comic version of her. I can't remember what she looks like in the comics right now. Skeletor was done pretty well. I mean, again, it's a budget fan film, but it was done truly with love, and I can't recommend it more. And if you're into films like that, there was a film I interviewed a while back when I was doing the in-credit chats, and it was my last full in-credit chat, and it was called Space Captain of Space, which you can find on Amazon. Sorry, I just need a sip of water. All right. So Space Captain in Space, Captain of Space, fantastic. If you love old movie serials, like the old Buck Rogers from the 40s and stuff, any of that era, you're gonna love this film. It was definitely a tribute to that. Another one I watched that I really liked, and I'll do in a Blitz style, and then this will probably be my last one just because of time, was is it because I have the marching ants going? I don't know. I'll see when I draw. But I had the marching ants going the whole time. Didn't know. Maybe that's why I was blinking. It was called Kenobi. It was a fan film about, obviously, Obi-Wan Kenobi living on Tatooine. And Luke probably looked about 8 or 9 in the story. And I will say, I'm not going to give anything away, but I will say that the ending scene ties very well into the original Star Wars film. And I think if after Revenge of the Sith, the way it begins and some of the things you see in there shows how much he really cared for Anakin. So that's all I'm going to say, but it's called Kenobi. And he had his traditional garb on. So that was good. Another one I really liked was called Star Wars Origins, which was just a really nice tribute to Indiana Jones and Star Wars. It was like a mashup, and honestly, it took me really 5 minutes to realize. I'm like I clicked on it, and the beginning is very Indiana Jones. I'll say that. And I click on it, and I'm watching this thing. I'm like, this isn't Star Wars. What the hell am I watching? And then it took me 5 minutes to realize that it had this Indiana Jones. There was a tribute to Indy in there, and I think you guys, it's one of the. I will say it's probably one of the best fan films of Star Wars I've ever seen. So, yeah, I'm looking at. I'm gonna do. Why is it? I'm sorry. I'm feeling my pen's a little off. I'm just gonna do. Hold on. I'm just gonna go to a bluish color to draw with right now. Okay. And let's zoom in. And I'm going to go back to my drawing brush. This Kyle, the Kyle, what's his name? Kyle T, is it? Or just Kyle? He had some great brushes, and Adobe made a deal with him. So a lot of that stuff you can get through Adobe, but this is one of the brushes I bought before it went until before that he merged with Adobe. And so I uploaded it because I think I would have had to pay for it again. And I'm like, I'm not paying for something I already paid for. So I've always felt more of a penciler than an inker. So what I'm just gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of draw a Blitz guy. I think the eyes are too big. He's not supposed to look surprised. And who is going to be kind of the Kenobi. So he doesn't, I'm gonna want to give him his beard. I'm gonna kind of scruff up his beard a bit, and let's bring his hair down. Want it to come down to the side like that. It's falling. Give him a nostril there, and we'll give him a smile. And what I'm going to do is I'm really going to try the Blitz version of this here. I'm going to give him a body, and let's have. I don't want this other leg. Put this leg over here. And I'll put, actually, let's do this. Okay, so this arm would be coming out and in, and we'll have his lightsaber here. Give him bigger hands here. And that'll be the lightsaber. So what I'm going to try to do is now just go in with black. And like I said, I really do enjoy the Circworks pens and stuff here. The hard pressure size is fine too. Whatever you want to do. But what I like is I really get a nice. Let me get a bigger brush so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Really get a nice flow on these different brushes. And I know it's because I'm in black, you may not be able to see the difference on them or tell, but I can tell. And that's, to me, the important thing. It's at 1. So that's a little bit rougher there, It's a pencil hard lead. Their pencils are decent, but for me, it really is about. I used the Tech pen already, so for me, it really is about their inking brushes. The pencil brushes, I really like. I really like that Kyle brush. And I do have other Kyle brushes I want to add into here. I think they're fantastic. I think for this, maybe we're going to go Pro Quill style. Right? And I don't need that big of a brush, but let's zoom in. And that's still too big. Let's see, how's the pressure sensitivity? Yep, it looks good. So I'm gonna. I want it to be a little bigger. Nope, I don't want it. That's the beauty of having a undo button, And one of the things we were talking about is some of the comic strips that that he liked, and a lot of it was a lot of the same stuff that I enjoyed growing up. One of them was Beetle Bailey, and I loved Beetle Bailey. I've always said I'm attracted to the clean lines, and that's how I ink. know, I also think when it comes to inking, and you watch Bruce's stuff, he's definitely a lot more confident with his lines sometimes. I'm very sketchy, so when I start inking, I feel like I'm still drawing with it. And I'll have this cloak, his hood will be back here. And this will come down. And this hand, you're going to see this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this hand is going to be up here, so that'll be the thumb. 1, 2, 4. And I'll just have the hand like that. This hand will be over here. We're going to put the lightsaber in. I'm just going to do a generic lightsaber. Right now, I don't have time to remember what his lightsaber actually looked like, so I'm just going to make a design. And his arm will be up over here, so we'll see some of the inside. This. Okay, and we got to remember the way his robes came down. So he had his belt like around here, but I don't remember everything 100%. Let's see, so his robe would come down this way, come down, here it comes out. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to I might do a little erasing. Another beauty thing of being digital as opposed to, let's bring this down and around so his cloak kind of covers up a bit of him. Why do I do that, you ask? So I have less to draw. So I have it kind of fall over the back of his. Back here, and I'm just going to have his. And then he's got his boots. Let's give it a little wrinkle there. Now, you know, it's funny because when I draw, I still kind of take some of this stuff into, just drawing the other side of the cloak right now. I still kind of take a lot of the stuff I learned from watching all the Bruce stuff. You know, into my regular cartooning. Let's bring that back right there. And I'll do a quick coloring to him. Everything will be on one layer. And I'm going to choose, let's get soft. Turn the airbrush on. Do Caucasian skin tone, so we'll do 25, 25, 0. And let's just get a bigger brush. I love coloring sometimes with the airbrush. It reminds me of coloring with like quick pastels, like a chalk pastel, as opposed to the what do they call it there? You know, the oil pastels, which I'm not a huge fan of. Now, this is the only way I remember making brown. So I just kind of go to brown and then I find a lighter version of it. But I do love the airbrush feel to it. And hopefully this is a decent brown. Like I said on the air, I'm shade blind. I see colors, but when they start blending, I have trouble telling them apart. And We'll go a little darker on the brown for his cloak here. Should have got made that a bigger brush, but whatever. It's just a quick coloring, right? Normally I would have done that a little lighter, but hey. We'll just keep that white. Let's go to kind of a grayish color. We'll keep it at that light gray for right here. Even we'll do the lightsaber. We'll go to black real quick for here. And I'll do maybe I'll do a light, like let's go 10, 20, 25, 0. Okay, that's not bad. I'll give that his... Looks a little too skin tone to me, but I know the cyan I put in there adds a greenish tint to it, but being colorblind, I can't even tell you what this is. And I'm just going to go with let's do 35% cyan. Okay, and I like to do this on another layer. And that goes there. And then we get a thin white. You know what? I don't like that. Can I hold the shift key? How would it come? Nope, not gonna. Okay, a little bit heavier. Straighter, I should say. And let's get a layer down there. Let's get a little black for the shadow. Let's bring up, let's do 25, 0, and 0, and say 50, and then another 0. Maybe a little... I'm trying to make a sand color. Again, I don't see colors well, so let's get this to be just a bigger brush, and who knows if that's a good sand color, but that's what I'm going to use. And then one more layer with a nice 100% cyan. So obviously I shouldn't go around coloring him. I should color around him. Let's get the eraser. Let's make the eraser soft brush a little bigger. Oops. Let's make it a little bigger and maybe erase some clouds into it. Let's get 100% yellow out. And another layer, just in case I mess up. And what's going on? Oh, I'm on the eraser, sorry. And let's put in the two suns. And maybe in the background, we'll get black. Let's kind of gray it out a bit. A little more of the grayish tone here. Let's go. It's too red. Let's keep it around here, maybe. There we go. In the background. And back here, maybe I'll put in a little, I don't know. It's Moss Isley back here. Just whatever, it's a little town. Let's Still getting a bit of that blinking. Do I have anything selected? Hold on. Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes I get it, sometimes... Oh, I'm getting it again. So... Huh. And... let's go to black. Let's go to new layer up here. And... just go down here. And I don't want that. That's why I do it on another layer, so I can move stuff. And let's get... tip pen. New layer. And just sign it. And to me, it's too big. It takes away from the drawing. And see, what's going on? Why is it zooming out so much? That's good. Throw that there. And you know what I'm going to do? Just so it doesn't take away from it. Let's... no. You, no. Which one do I want here? I'll leave it at normal and just lower the opacity a bit, I guess, so it doesn't really... And there you go, and that is my Kenobi piece. So that's me looking in the kind of working in the Blitz style. I know it's a little different than his, but it's highly influenced. Like I said, I grew up looking at his stuff, and to me, it was some of the best and very inspirational work. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you for listening to the 20 minutes of me talk about what's going on with my studio and my work and things. But I was very happy to share that with you, because I'm going to be able to provide better streams and more drawing tutorial videos for YouTube and such. So at the end of the day, I don't think it was 20 minutes wasted. I hope I didn't bore you, but thank you for those who stayed for the whole time. I'll be back next week. I might stream this weekend. I don't know. I mean, after I set everything up, see how it goes and see what happens. But next Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern, John Wilcox will be on. Remember, John is a colorist for some companies. He's been a writer. He's worked for Marvel. He's also a comic book and comic strip historian. And Stephen, yes, Bruce definitely inspires. Yes. Oh, you mean my picture? Definitely Bruce inspired. Yes. Thank you. If I was sitting down, it's funny, when I draw digital, I draw a little differently digital than when I draw by hand. And when I get the new webcam, you'll see that I start a lot of things very similar to him when I'm doing my cartoony work. When I draw more superhero-ish, it's obviously different, but I start my work very differently than I would do cartoony stuff like this. But when I draw cartoony, it's definitely Bruce. But anyway, yeah, come in next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube here at on my channel at Michael Grassia, or you can watch me on Facebook at getintoon.net, and remember, it's TOON. And you can watch me live. You're there, but follow both subscribe on Facebook. You know, hit the like button on here, and you know, follow me on Facebook as well. I post a little bit more. YouTube is just really my streaming and stuff. So Stephen, you're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm happy you'll tune in again. So I will see you guys later. Have a great Thanksgiving. Everyone be safe. Have a great weekend. And I will see you. I'll see you on Tuesday night with John Wilcox. All right. Bye, guys.